Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Yeah, Bama has lost the #1 quarterback in the country, 2024, and Nick Saban cannot be happy. Yeah, you worked that hard to get all these players, and they're just dropping like flies. Now, fortunately, I was able to do this show early. Normally on Friday, as you know, I'm stuck at work.
Drink it up, big boss! All right, drink it up, gambler.
But the boss man called me out today because of the weather. It's so nasty, and we're not going to be busy. So I get to do a show about Alabama. And I know all those Alabama fans out there are thrilled.
I'm so happy for you. Thank you both very much. I owe you both a debt of gratitude.
Absolutely. Now, I was not expecting to do a show on Alabama. I figured there'd be a day off from a 5-star dropping or another 5-star dropping, but the hits keep on coming. And this is a tough one. This is a really tough one. All right, folks, I do have a special warning for you. If you're an Alabama fan, if you're a boomer, you'll probably be okay. You can probably handle this. But if you're a millennial or a Gen Z, this is going to be a tough video for you. And especially being an Alabama fan, going through everything that you're going through right now. So I have 2 ways to help you. If you're a millennial and you decide you want to watch this video, what I need you to do is this. Go find one of your participation trophies. I know you got one. And just hold it during the entire video. That'll help you feel better. And you'll be able to handle it with a little bit more grace. Won't be so tough on you. And if you're a Gen Z, I need you to do this. Be sure to put on your Gen Z toboggan. You're going to need it. Now, here's the thing. It's wintertime, so I know you got plenty of them. Normally, I know you like to wear these when it's like 90 degrees outside for some reason, and y'all are just, it's your thing. Well, if you'll wear the toboggan and hold your participation trophy, that includes the Gen Zs, it's going to make this video a lot better for you. And I think you'll handle the information without, it shouldn't cause any kind of trigger warnings or anything like that. So be sure you do those 2 things, because I don't want to see y'all in the comments wearing me out about how, you're not going to be able to sleep and you've been triggered and all that kind of stuff. I don't need that. So anyway, this is just a public service announcement for your own good. When you think about all the 5-stars they've lost, it's almost incredible. I've gone from using one side of the sheet. Now I'm on the second side of the sheet. I'm getting ready to have to get another sheet. And all these are either really high 4-stars or 5-stars. But here's the thing that's even more shocking. It's the 2025s that are dropping as well. They just lost Zion Grady, who's the #1 edge player for 2025 out of the state of Alabama. He decommitted. Jamie French, 5-star wide receiver, 2025, he decommitted. For all you SEC teams out there and fan bases and all that, if you want to know why Alabama's been so good for so long, part of it, they had the greatest coach in the world, which is Nick Saban, but he was also the greatest recruiter in the world. And it shouldn't surprise you at all if those 2 things commingle. He had so many 5-stars over there, it was unbelievable. If Tennessee, my team, lost 4 or 5 5-stars, we'd be out of 5-stars. They lose 5, and it's like, I guess we'll just limp along with the 20 we've got. It's almost ridiculous, but I think those days of stacking 5-stars at Alabama are pretty much over. They brought in a guy who's a really good X's and O's guy, but he's not a great recruiter. He does not have a history of it. He wasn't a really good recruiter at Washington. He was okay. More of a transfer portal guy, I think. So this is going to be difficult for them. But let's get into this story. And the quarterback's Julian Saban. He's entered the transfer portal. He would have been a freshman this year. He's from California. He originally committed to the Tide in November of 2022. The head coach there was Nick Saban, obviously, and Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator. And we're going to come back to the Bill O'Brien thing. Talks about the latest high-profile player to look elsewhere since Saban's retirement. And it is a little bit surprising that he didn't give Kalen DeBoer an opportunity, but DeBoer just brought in a quarterback from Washington that we'll talk about here in a moment, who was a 4-star. But that may have coincided. He may have known that Julian Saban was heading out and that he needed a quarterback for this year to fill that spot. So we'll go into his background here in a minute. He's a pretty good quarterback. And that leaves the Tide with Jalen Milroe, who's coming back, Ty Simpson, who I'm surprised he hasn't entered the transfer portal. Very surprised. Dylan Lonergan, who I understand is a pretty darn good quarterback. And then Austin Mack. He's the quarterback I was telling you about. He's a 4-star out of Washington, and he has followed DeBoer to Alabama. And Julian picked Alabama over Georgia and LSU. He said during his announcement that he wanted to be coached by Saban and O'Brien. O'Brien has been hired at Ohio State as offensive coordinator, so that gives Ohio State the upper hand in my opinion. I think he's got familiarity there. And Bill O'Brien's a conservative offensive coordinator, but he's a pretty darn good one. So I would not be a bit surprised if he transfers to Ohio State. That would make a lot of sense. And Saban, of course, was considered the top quarterback in the class by 247 Sports Composite, and he was the Gatorade California Player of the Year, and he had 24 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So he's very careful with the ball. He's not overly cautious, though. I think he's going to perform well wherever he goes. I mean, like I said, he's their version of Nico. Now, I'm going to show you some of what the Alabama fans are feeling. I'll show you some Twitter comments and some things, give you an idea what it's like down there. And here's an Auburn tweet. It says, this is Alabama's team right now. Yeah, a little bit confused. I'm seeing this one a whole lot. Saying goodbye. And here's people roasting marshmallows, enjoying the Alabama meltdown, and all these different types of gifts, which doesn't surprise me any. Now, I did put together a group of individuals that represent the SEC, a lot of the fan bases, and here was their reaction to the Alabama free fall. Yeah, they're not exactly broke up about it. Now, here's the thing. When you think about all the effort that Nick Saban went through to get all those 5 stars, and here's the thing, it's not like 5 stars are easy to get. They have everybody throwing money at them, throwing whatever, cars, anything they can think of to get them to come to their team. And Alabama does not have some big NIL program. They just don't. They're not even in the top 20. Think about that. That's how important Nick Saban was to their recruiting success. He didn't have the money that Texas A&M, Georgia, he didn't have the money they've got. So he was just doing it on reputation and his personality and walking in there with 6 rings on his fingers, or 7. And that's got to be incredibly frustrating to see all his work just get washed down the drain, basically, because that is hard work. First of all, you're constantly on the phone with these kids. You're constantly meeting with them. You got to meet with their parents, their uncles, their cousins, whatever makes them happy. So you're putting forth all that effort, and then within literally a week, it all goes flushed down the drain, all those 5 stars. 2 in the 25 class just lost their number 1 quarterback, and then all of this, goodbye. All of that, goodbye. And your defensive back coach, T-Rob, goes to Georgia. I mean, he's got to be super frustrated. And this is probably way worse than he thought it would be. I know he probably assumed, well, we're going to lose some guys. You know, I'll be retiring, and we bred in this new guy, and he'll be okay, and I'll help him, you know, navigate these southern waters, because the culture in the South is very different from where he's coming from. He's been out on the West Coast. This is a completely different culture, and he doesn't know his way around here. So he's going to have to get used to the South. And he must not be a very good, well, he's probably an okay recruiter, but he needs to be recruiting right now the guys on the team, and they're gone. Every one of them's just popping right on out, and it's his best players. But he doesn't have any NIL money for them. On top of that he could throw extra. It's a difficult situation. I don't know whether to blame him, blame the situation, blame Alabama. I don't know. But needless to say, it's going to be a very interesting 2024. I had us possibly losing this game even at Neyland this year. I don't feel that way at all now. I feel like we have a very good opportunity to beat Alabama. They're not going to have that incredible depth. Caleb Downs, not having him in that secondary against us, wow. And that awesome tackle that you can't get a sack on the guy. You can't get around him. He's too good. Caden Proctor, you're not going to get around that dude. Even with James Pierce, he would struggle with him. So those key pieces that they've been using to dominate for years, they're gone. They're going to have to do it with 4 stars and some 3 stars probably too. And they'll still have some 5 stars, but they're not going to have just stacks of them. And their depth situation's not going to be there. So for the Alabama fans, hopefully you didn't watch this video. The last couple I've done, I've put humongous out there to kind of let you know not to watch this video.
Just walk away.
That's right. I've told you just to walk away. Hopefully you've done that and you're not watching these videos because you're not going to like them. And I understand that. I really do. I wouldn't blame. Best thing for y'all to do is not to watch a whole lot of anything and just kind of hibernate for a little while and let the chips fall where they may, and then look back up, and hopefully things will look better for you in a month or so. But this is a tough time. I remember going through this exact situation when Jeremy Pruitt was let go because of all the nonsense that he was doing. And we lost over 30 players, and they were our best guys. And some of them went to Alabama, like Toto, which was very frustrating. He wound up playing against us that year. So we know what you're feeling, but y'all aren't used to it. See, we're used to dealing with a lot of crap. This is brand new for you. A lot of you young guys and young ladies at Alabama have never known anything but success. If you're under 30 or 35, you've never known anything but bliss. Well, welcome to the real world. This is the real world of college football. It's going to be up and down and up and down. Your days of being way up here are probably over. Now, you're going to be really good. You'll be like, right, you're not going to drop much below this. 9-3 will be a bad season for you. But the days of just dominating, they're gone. And especially with Kirby Smart over there, how smart of him to get T-Rob. I mean, he is a vicious dude. He couldn't wait to get over there and nab a key guy from you. And that's going to probably lead Caleb Downs right down the path to Georgia, which is no bueno. So anyway, I know you don't like this content, but the rest of you probably are enjoying it. And that would be Georgia, Florida State, Ohio State, all of you. And don't be a bit surprised if Saban doesn't wind up at Ohio State with Bill O'Brien. I think there's a high likelihood of that. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover my Vols, the SEC, all these big news stories. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. If you hit this little button right here, it'll help you get my videos. You can keep up with all this. Doesn't cost you a dime. And right over here's the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.